All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about the surprising science behind intimacy. We're talking about how it can seriously impact our health in some pretty profound ways, and the research we're about to unpack, it comes from some of the best universities in the world, and honestly, it's just fascinating. So let's just start with this thought, right? What if one of the biggest secrets to good health was actually one of life's greatest pleasures? Because, what we're going to explore here, it's not just about a temporary buzz. We're talking about a super powerful, scientifically proven part of our long-term health. It's a real game changer. Okay, so before we go any further, let's get on the same page. What do scientists even mean by regular sexual activity? Well, in most of these big studies, they're talking about intimate, partnered activity happening about once or twice a week. And that specific frequency, that seems to be the sweet spot, the key that unlocks all these amazing health benefits we're about to get into. All right, so let's start our tour of the body. And we're going to begin right at the top, with the brain. Because the way regular intimacy affects how we think and how we feel, honestly, it's pretty incredible. So what's really amazing here is just how many different mental benefits there are. We're not just talking about feeling good for a few minutes. The research shows this can literally sharpen your thinking, even boost your working memory. And the science behind it is super cool. It basically helps dial down your stress hormones like cortisol, while at the same time it's releasing all these feel-good endorphins. It creates this powerful shield against stress and anxiety. And check this out. This number really drives the point home. We're talking about a huge study, over 15,000 adults, and it found that hitting that sweet spot of once or twice a week was linked to a 60% lower chance of depression. That's not a small number. That is a massive difference. And it's not just about your mood either. It's about keeping your brain sharp, especially as you get older. A really interesting study from the University of Oxford looked at adults over 50. And they found that the ones who were intimate every week did way better on tests for what's called executive function. That's all the important stuff like solving problems, planning ahead, and staying focused.
Okay, moving on from the brain, let's travel down to the body's engine room, the heart, because the research here shows some really powerful, long-term protective benefits for your entire cardiovascular system.
Okay, get ready for this number, because it's a big one. There was this landmark 10-year study from Cardiff University. They tracked almost 1,000 guys, and what they found was wild. The men who had the most orgasms literally cut their risk of dying from anything by 50%. In half. That is a huge, huge deal. And it gets even more interesting. The researchers found this direct link. You could almost call it a more is more effect. The study itself says that for every extra 100 orgasms a year, the odds of death went down by another 36%. So it's not a one-off thing. It suggests this consistent, stacking benefit for your heart over time. So, we've covered the brain and the heart. Now let's talk about how intimacy can basically act like a shield for your entire body. We're talking about beefing up your immune system and making you tougher against getting sick. Okay, this is pretty neat. Researchers at Wilkes University looked at this key antibody in our saliva. It's called IgA, and it's basically the front line of your body's defense system. And what they found is that people having sex once or twice a week had 30% higher levels of it. So what does that mean for you? Well, it could literally mean catching fewer colds. Pretty cool, right? And the protection doesn't stop there, especially when we're talking about men's health. A huge study out of Harvard, this thing ran for decades, found that men who ejaculated 21 or more times a month had a 20 to 30% lower risk of getting prostate cancer. That's a really significant drop. All right, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. We've hit the brain, the heart, the immune system, but what about the day-to-day stuff? Let's talk about how all this adds up to affect everything from our stress levels and sleep all the way to how long we might live. The cool thing is you don't have to wait years to feel the benefits. A brand new study from 2024 found that even the very next day, people reported all sorts of positive things. We're talking better sleep, lower stress, just a better mood overall. And it makes sense, right? It's likely all those great hormones like oxytocin and prolactin getting released, which are perfect for helping you relax, feel connected, and get some really deep sleep. So, let's just do a quick recap of what we've seen. This really pulls it all together. You've got Cardiff University showing a massive drop in mortality risk, Wilkes University without immune boost, Oxford linking it to a sharper brain, and Harvard showing a lower cancer risk. The point is, this isn't just guesswork. This is solid science from top-tier institutions built up over years and years of research. Now, it is important to remember that it's not a perfect one-size-fits-all situation.
The research points out some interesting differences. For guys, it seems like frequency is a really big factor for those heart and prostate benefits. But for women, studies are showing that the quality and satisfaction of the intimacy are more strongly connected to health perks, like having lower blood pressure.
So when you look at all this evidence, the main takeaway is crystal clear. This isn't some niche, fringe topic. The science is telling us that regular, positive intimacy is a fundamental part of a healthy life. It belongs right up there with the big ones, eating well, getting enough exercise, and sleeping enough.
So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. Think about it. We track our steps, we count our calories, we monitor our sleep, all for our health. So shouldn't we also pay a little more attention to the science behind one of our most powerful human connections? It's definitely something to think about.